All right. Hello everyone, and welcome to a kind of special Bulletin episode of Bodied. I am joined by piemagicman, my good friend and show co-host. How are you today, Pi?
I'm doing pretty well, Havoc. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, even better after the surprise news that came out. While the team was recording episode, I believe it was 54. Yeah, episode 54. Um, Cloud9 had some very interesting news that came out a short bit after. They announced a surprise joint kind of deal with Kongdoo Panthera, a Korean Overwatch team. The team would play under the joint Cloud9 Panthera, Cloud9 Kongdoo banner for the remainder of the Apex Season 4 tournament, at which time the team would then go and be Cloud9's Overwatch League team for the London spot. I was very surprised. I don't know about you, Pi.
Yeah, I was about to go to bed, and all of a sudden we have a third Overwatch team.
We could have a fourth. What is maybe something more challenging? Like what's the Africa Overwatch scene looking like? I think we could do one there.
I think Brazil is some untapped potential. I mean, they do well in Counter-Strike. Why would they do well? Why wouldn't they do well in a game that's nothing like Counter-Strike?
Brazil has like a lot of passionate fans. I think that would work out really well for us if we picked up a fourth. If we had C9 Brazil.
Yeah, then we can like threaten to murder people, and our fans would back us up. It'd be great.
Yeah, right? Like, oh man, just a great bunch of Brazilians over there. Um, but yeah, I was surprised just because we were saying like on the episode, and you can go watch it if anyone is curious. I mentioned, and we were kind of talking about how it's really uncertain about what the roster is going to look like because the lock-in date for rosters isn't till like October 30th, so there was still like a month for teams to try out people and make offers and all this other stuff. So for Cloud9, who has already kind of had a jumbled mess with their Overwatch thing, to come out and say like, hey, we got an Overwatch League team. It's not the other two teams we have. It's this third one. It definitely caught me by surprise. I guess let's jump right into the discussion. How do you feel about this move? I know how I feel about it, but I want to know how you feel about it.
I'm not the biggest fan. It seems kind of weird. It's like, I mean, you're taking one of the most successful teams, and then it's just like, now you're Cloud9, but there's still also Kongdoo. So right now, that's just like, overall weird feeling to me. I don't know who any of these players are. Like,
I had a kind of a similar situation of just like, well, I don't know who the team is. I was excited because it's a Cloud9 venture. Now I can cheer for the team in a whole new capacity. Um, I thought it was. I knew that the community's reaction would be very split. But I was actually really excited for Cloud9 to pick up one of the top teams in the world and be like, all right, you're gonna play for us now. Kind of. It was great. I actually watched them this morning. They had a match against the NC Foxes for the quarterfinals of Apex Season 4, and they completely steamrolled them, and it was really fun.
I mean, no doubt they're good. I guess they got second in the last season of Apex, and I believe they're currently undefeated in this season.
Yes, you're correct.
So they're obviously good, but it's, I guess, what do you care more about with a team that you want to support? Do you want them to just be the best? Do you want them to be relatable? Do you just not care if they're a bunch of Meebers and you have the Echo Fox, Delta Fox team?
As for me, I'm definitely in the victory at all costs camp. I will identify and get close to the team as they play, as long as my team wins and is the best and is not like Cleveland Browns level bad, I will totally support them and cheer for them. But I think that a happy org and a happy fan base is a winning fan base. So I'm of the camp that I think they should, Cloud9 should just try to get the best team they can that can just win a bunch. And through this maneuver, they will definitely win a bunch. And they can just get fans afterwards.
I don't know. This is weird. This is like if the Browns just completely got rid of their team and then somehow got like all of the Patriots right now. Like, I mean, it's still Patriots really, but like, one, I still hate them. It's just weird for both sides there, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely a big conundrum, especially for people in London when you consider the fact that it's a North American-owned organization with a European spot, and now you have this full Korean roster coming in. On the one hand, Cloud9's really doubling down on just trying to get as many fans as they can throughout the world. But on the other hand, you do have to kind of question how can an average Londoner watch the team and get excited for the team if there isn't anyone from that region that they can kind of connect with. I guess my one counterpoint is I did see Reddit comments on the competitive Overwatch sub, and a lot of people from London were like, "Hey, I'm from London. I'm actually really excited about this because I'm a Cloud9 fan and I'm a Kongdoo fan. So this is like, double scoop of ice cream."
Yeah, so I mean, you said it yourself. The cross section is people who like Cloud9 and Kongdoo, and happen to live in London. That's a really small portion.
Yes, that is a very specific niche.
But I don't know. It feels weird to me because like I think of most of the Cloud9 teams, and all of them have like really great personalities to them. Like Sneaky is there every night, and you can watch him, and you feel connected with him for the league team. Mango has the nation behind him, and he's like such a huge personality. Like Shroud, formerly on CS:GO, was he was also making like front page plays, King of Clutch, and streaming memes and shit. And now it's just like, here are 6 people who are good at the game. Like we don't even have like, we've already had people who are good like Sure4 and Adam, but we also felt connected to them through like stream, through like Discord, Snapchat. They interacted with us. I don't really know anything about them other than they're good in Korean.
Yeah, that's a good point. I do think, I mean, that stuff can be worked on though. I think that Jack did say in a thread that he actually made in competitive Overwatch to clear the air about a lot of the speculation and rumors that were circulating. He said that the C9 Kongdoo team is going to learn English and is currently learning English probably to better interact with the fans. You can probably easily set up streaming schedules and give them tips on how to stream. And I think they could easily become a more relatable team just through streaming and stuff. I mean, Sneaky probably wasn't super relatable at first when he started, but through streaming and time, he's developed this big fan base because everyone's gotten to know him through those streams. So I think that fan outreach is something that can definitely be worked on, especially since it's in this early stage. So I don't think that is a problem, but I don't think it's something that completely ruins them.
I think the difference here is like they're coming in, like Overwatch has been out for a while. The big personalities have been made known. When they come, Overwatch League starts, and all these other orgs have people that are established that people like. Why would they want to go to Cloud9 when it's like I don't know if they're gonna have like that quirky, lovable foreigners that LMQ had. I think that's kind of gone now. Like, I think people are over it with just how many people are being imported in all the esports, that like this full foreign team isn't like quirky and adorable anymore. It's just like, oh, look it, they're coming in and gonna crush everyone and whatever.
Yeah, that's certainly a good point. When you have sort of community staples like Mendo, for example, how are someone like Birdring, for example. He's a C9 Kongdoo player. How does Birdring, for example, compete with someone like Mendo, who has already had kind of a year or two to develop his personality and interact with fans and build that up, when you have this new guy who's like, hey, I'm a Cloud9 player now, kind of. How's it going, everybody? It certainly does kind of put a damper on things, especially with the, this being just another esport where Korea comes in and is like, hey, so we're going to run the show now. And everyone's just like, okay. So I think this does present like a ton of problems that I think fans are going to have to do a lot of soul searching about.
I think the other thing is, are we going to be the bandwagon team now just because we have the most dominant one? Like, do you want to be what TSM is in League to like Overwatch, where, just because they're good, you have fans, and then as soon as something goes wrong, we'll see where we're at. I mean, TSM really hasn't had that bad of a split ever, but like, is that going to be who you want? That the people who have no clue about anything, just, I feel bad saying that now, but like, people are just going to look at Cloud9 because they stomp.
That's a really good question. I actually thought about this earlier today, and I was of two minds about it. On the one hand, I think that, well, every fan base has to start somewhere. I'm sure that every team at one point or another had these bandwagon people come on, and then when things got rocky, the true fans were the ones who stayed even though things got bad. On the other hand, the things like TSM or the Patriots or, potentially Cloud9 Kongdoo, people do kind of make that kind of a stigma that like, oh, well, they're just really good. And it feels like they didn't really earn sort of the fan base and everything. It was just kind of given to them because, like, well, you're the best, so everyone's going to cheer for you anyway. So it's a real double-edged sword.
Yeah, it feels like it might hurt other teams within the branding if people come from Overwatch and start saying, like, oh, man, I like watching Cloud9. Maybe I'll go to a different esport, and then you kind of get those people. I feel bad saying that, like, those people.
Yeah, for sure. I have a question for you, actually. How would you react if this similar situation happened, but it was done out by one of the US slots? So say something like Optic or Envy or like the New England team or the Philadelphia team was like, yeah, we signed the Kongdoo Panthera roster to be our team. Do you think that you would have a similar reaction and feelings, and the community would have similar reactions and feelings to how Cloud9 has done things?
I think the community would. I don't think you can take mine into account since I was a fan of the NA roster, but this is odd to me. I'm not a fan of other rosters. I don't really care about Optic. Don't really care about the New England spot. If they did it, I'll just be whatever. Like, I wasn't going to watch them in the first place.
Okay, that's fair enough. And they are, lesser known teams with perhaps lesser known players. I know NRG has Sinatra, and that was a whole big thing. So maybe fan bases go there more. But it's certainly a whole bunch of what ifs.
I got a question I'd just like to throw out there. I mean, we know that Jack has been looking for a full Korean roster. There was that ad that was on Envin a while ago. Do you think this is something that was in the works, or something that only came about because Jack was in Korea with the League team and was able to make some connections?
That is a good question. I think it might be a little bit of both. I think the advertisement was a serious thing to kind of gauge how the Korean Overwatch community would receive it and see if anyone had any interest. And I think Jack being in Korea certainly helped. He could actually meet with a bunch of these teams and discuss, do you want to work with us? We have a spot, you have a team, let's work something out. He could have maybe had opening discussions with a lot of these teams when that thing came out. He could have talked with Kongdoo Panthera in like August or July, and they were kind of having little tiny meetings and discussions, and just now he's able to have sort of like a finalized meeting or something. I'm not sure. I think him being in Korea definitely did help, because he is kind of, there. But yeah, that's a good question as well.
And here's one more fun fact about our little Kongdoo connection is that when Bishop joined Cloud9, he originally joined from Kongdoo and is currently their coach. So we did have a little bit more connection to them than just going over and talking to them. So there was a little bit of rapport build up, it seems.
Yeah, I do think that actually was a big deciding factor in us picking up Kongdoo, because Bishop had experience working with Jack and Cloud9. He probably said a lot of good things about how the organization was run and how they take care of everybody, and he's not one of these owners that's going to bamboozle you with, hideous contract terms or anything, and he's very supportive and flexible. So I think that Bishop definitely was probably a big part in maybe talking with Kongdoo management and helping secure this deal. I think one more point I want to touch on. We're talking about NA in Europe a lot. I think the situation is very interesting. Looking at what he said to kind of give context for the situation, the North American players are under contract, but they are free to try out for teams, and they can agree to terms. There's not incredibly high buyouts like some have speculated. I think he said that Surefour had some offers, but he had said no or put on hold, probably to consider options. The Contenders roster is kind of a different story. He mentioned that when the players joined for Contenders, it was specifically for Contenders, and he made that perfectly clear from the moment they joined. But they have no buyouts, and they're also free to try out for teams and try to look for Overwatch League teams. And he also mentioned that the Contenders team will remain in Contenders and will focus solely on developing European talent. So with that being said, do you think that the North American and European players have a future in the Overwatch League? Or do you think that it will be more of the same of trying to import the best Koreans and then trying to jam them wherever they can?
I think with the Korean teams, you need to get someone full. I believe that since there's no import restrictions, getting this mishmash of Korean and non-Korean is a bad idea. It's shown with a lot of the imports in NA and EU, the communication won't be there. It just doesn't work out for the short-term goals. That being said, I think a lot of these NA and EU players are like too talented to not get onto a team. The biggest issue is Jack has said that some of the players have been fielded offers, and it was ultimately down to them if they wanted to take them or not. And they may just not be getting good enough offers, or offers from teams that they think have potential. Like, what if it's like Surefour and 5 people who actually who've only played in like amateur leagues and not actually played against like these fully foreign teams. Like, that would not be ideal for him. So if they get somewhere, which I really believe they should, like, teams should be giving them offers, but they're most likely going to end up split up.
Yeah, I think it ultimately depends on how low are the players willing to go in order to get into the Overwatch League. If it's a thing of money, they may have to sacrifice a few thousand. If it's a thing of players, and they want someone who is either more experienced or someone who they played with before in one situation or another, and they just gel well. Uh, you know, it's definitely up to them, and I don't think we can say a lot about it because there's a lot of things behind closed doors that we just can't really say. I do want to say that I hope that players like Sure4 and the other North American Cloud9 players, Mendo, Nevix from the Contenders roster, all those people. Yeah, Adam. I do hope they all get spots in the Overwatch League because they work very hard and they're very talented and they certainly deserve it. I guess at the end of the day, it's up to them and the orgs that are giving them offers if they can play or not. But I think we've milked the subject for all it's worth. Do you have any final thoughts on the C9 Kongdoo merger, piemagicman? Any last minute rants you want to go on before we end this special episode?
I think that Blizzard, they really should have learned from StarCraft 2 that no import restriction is a terrible idea. But here we are, and honestly, with the state of how Overwatch League is looking, with all these people not sure of what teams they'll be on, not sure how the teams will form, having a team like Kongdoo Panthera is going to be amazing for Cloud9 as far as getting wins goes. The big thing is, how does that really set a precedence for going forward? Now that we've, if it's established that you can bring in these juggernaut teams, what would make people want to invest in watching or invest in other players? If you already know that Cloud9 has, probably the best team in the world right now.
Yeah, and it does bring up questions of are we just gonna have another League of Koreans, and and how does this affect down the road? Is someone going to be watching Overwatch League Season 4 if it's just more of the same of this of who can throw around the best money and shake the hands and all that? But on the whole, I'm really happy. I'm glad this happened to Cloud9 and not someone else. I fully welcome our Korean overlords and hope Cloud9 and Kongdoo win Apex. I hope they do really well in Overwatch League. I'm probably going to buy a shirt or a hat. So that's my stance on it. Let us know yours in the comments or tweet at us at C9Bodied on Twitter. Let us know what your thoughts on this whole mess is. We would love to hear about it because it's a very tense subject.
But one more thing, if you don't think the new icon is dope, then you're definitely wrong.
Exactly. The new icon is legit the best icon I've seen. Whoever designed that needs to get more money and should just design all the Overwatch League logos. But anyway, but yeah, thanks for listening to this special Bulletin episode of Bodied, and we will see you next time for your regularly scheduled episode. Next week, we'll be talking about this a little bit more with some of the other people. We'll talk about some other esports results, including Rocket League and CSGO, and we're going to be talking about Cloud9's results at the play-in stage at Worlds. So that's going to be really exciting and should be really fun. So please tune into that. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.
Have a good one.